welcome back to the channel. Thank you ever so much as always for joining me. I hope you're all well and having a great week. So straight into the action, as I like to do with my channel. We will be spraying the Great Wall Hobby SU-27UB with a clear coat. A glossy clear coat. This is so that it makes it easier for me personally to apply the decals. So the clear coat in question is the Mr. Hobby GX100. This is excellent stuff. It's thinned with the Mr. Hobby self-leveling thinners on a ratio of about 3 parts of thinner to 1 part gloss coats. Get me words out this morning. So what you see in front of you is me applying said clear coat, and now it's just like light misty sprays, slowly building it up, and because it's quite well thinned you get a nice glossy coat with very minimal effort. And I have to say, Mr. Hobby's GX100 is probably the best gloss coat that I've actually used. It blows the Alclad stuff out of the water for the fact that it dries nice and hard, doesn't take long to dry. It is a deep luster in the gloss. It's good coverage, and yeah, it doesn't have that sort of, I don't know whether you guys get it, but I tend to find with Alclad's clear gloss or clear coats, they seem to have a bit of, like, I don't know, a tackiness to them afterwards, whereas this Mr. Hobby GX100 doesn't have that. So that's my reasoning for using that. So it's just a case of lightly applying this over all the all the sort of ancillary parts, tails, tail planes, etc. that I've painted. Just like to apologise that it's taken me about 3 weeks to get this episode out to you. Unfortunately, the dreaded thing called life has got in the way, such as work, family commitments, etc, etc, and also just the sheer amount of decals that were involved with this build. There's 200 of them, so it's taken me a fair while to get them put down, basically. So what I've tried to do, this video is going to be basically all about the decaling. Now, I don't know about you, I love decaling. It's where I find the model comes to life, and you almost sort of turn in the corner with coming around to completing the kit. I say I love decaling, but I must admit, doing 200 small decals, yeah, it took it out of me. I'm not going to lie. The concentration, I had to do it in batches of 50 because, wow, there were just so many of them. And then I've gone and looked at my next build, the Zukimura F4, and it's got 400 of them. So, yeah, God help me. So, yeah, here we can see, nice, clear, deep finish to this, which is good. Now, I know some people don't like using, well, say you don't need to use clear coat before putting decals down. Now, that may be true. This is my way of doing things, and I do. I like to do it, but I find that the decal softeners, I'm really struggling with my words there. I do apologise. The decal softeners work better when it's not just been when the decal's not just going straight down to paintwork. You may differ. Throw me your thoughts on that in the comments below. I'm always I always read them and always try to reply. I like to you know, to interact with you guys. It's the whole point of me doing this. So if you have any sort of thoughts on that, let me know. Let me know your process and how you go about doing this. So there we go. One shiny tail. 2 of them knocking around, obviously, and other bits and pieces. Just as I say, the ancillary parts, they were all sprayed. Aha! So now we have the main fuselage looking splendid, if I say so myself. So it's just a case of getting an even application of this all over. And the good thing about the GX100, it doesn't dull your sort of chrome work or shiny work down as well. It respects that, which is really nice. Really, really nice. I thought I'd speed this up because I am trying to make this video as entertaining, or sort of keep you guys happy, as entertaining as possible. So I've sped this up because, yeah, you don't need to sit there for 10 minutes watching me lay this gloss coat down. Whilst I'm doing this, I'd just like to thank you ever so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I've had some great comments come through where you guys are reaching out to me, and it means the world to me. It's just so nice to chat with you, make friends with you all. Maybe one day we'll meet up at some shows, etc. That would be nice. But it's just nice to know you're out there. And some of you have also reached out that have got similar sort of, I don't know, mental health issues like me, and you've said that my videos have helped you, inspire you, or help kick you up the bum to get on with it, or just helped you with your own process. And you know what, if I get nothing else out of doing these videos, that is more than enough to me, to know that, you know, my ramblings, my wafflings have helped maybe some of you pick model kits up again and get back into the hobby. That would just be great if that's the case. This is a hobby and it is fun, so even if you're not, you know, churning out masterpieces, as long as you're happy with them, who gives a shit? Sorry to be blunt, but you know, this hobby is here to be enjoyed, and I hope that I've helped that, and my wafflings and my videos have inspired some of you to maybe pick the plastic up again. So there we go, whilst I've been chatting away, that's got a lovely even clear coat across it now. I'm really happy with that. I really, as I say, can't wax lyrical enough about the GX100. So without further ado, onto the decals. So this is Foxbot's decals, and yeah, they're pretty good. I must admit, they're good. You can probably hear it in my voice. They're a tad thick, just ever so slightly thick, not by a lot. They're a little bit thick. So I had a toss up between these and the decals that come with the kit. So I sort of checked through my references to see which one's more accurate, and it was a little bit sort of hit and miss. So what I decided, just purely on the thickness and how they're laid down, I went with the kit decals for all the stencils and bits and pieces, and then I sort of went back to Foxbot as we go through this video to use them for the main markings and other bits and pieces. But here you can see that there's plenty of these decals. They're all laid out, and what I actually did is I laid them down. I actually ticked off or scribbled out the numbers. I found that an easy way just to make sure that I'd got all the decals down. This is Foxbot's decal sheet. I haven't shown the one that comes with the kit because I think I showed that in episode 1, where you can see what you're getting with in the box, etc. Nice little plug there for further episodes. So these are my weapons of choice. These are micro scale, micro sole and micro set. So you use the micro sole first and then the micro set afterwards, just waiting for the camera to focus. So one of them, as you can see here, improves adhesion, and the micro sole helps it stick down and for the painted look, basically. So I've already, you'll see in a moment, I've already put some of the tail markings down, but we're going to actually use decal number 7 here for showing you how I do these decals. Like I say, and I've always said all along, this isn't a tutorial per se, although it kind of touches on it. This is my way of doing things, okay? Now, I have always said this may not be the correct way. I'm open to corrections. If you guys have better ways, again, ping me a line, let me know how you guys do it. So here we go, we just cut out the decal. That goes into some moderately warm water for 10 seconds and then gets popped down onto the paper towel. This just allows the excess water to drain off, because there's nothing worse than having little dabs of water around your bench, and then you put your decal sheet down, that bit of water goes onto your decal sheet, and then you've got a nightmare. And yeah, that's happened to me. So it's a case now using the micro set. I dab this down onto the tail in the left hand corner. Double checking where it's going to be, of course, we like to make sure. Then just dab it down with the cotton bud or Q-tip. This stuff sort of makes almost helps the decal adhere better. And it's just a case of popping it down, really nice and easy like this. Having the reference sheet to the left, and then I can just see where it's got to go exactly. Slight adjustments if they're necessary. And then there we go. Really is as simple as that. Now, I'm sure you guys know how to do this, but I am here sort of catering for those people that maybe are new to the hobby or haven't done it for a while and aren't up to date with the current ways of doing things, or just want to see how I do it. So you'll see at the beginning, well, I've already seen at the beginning of this video, I'm using cotton buds and Q-tips. I did sort of have a bit of a learning process with this myself, and actually used, in the end, used paintbrushes to put down the microsole and microset, because I found it was a bit more accurate and I wasn't having so much wastage, but you'll see that further on anyhow. So Q-tip there has just cleared out all the water or the liquid underneath, and it just gets it's the set in place. Leave it there for a couple of minutes, and then it's on with the microsole, and that basically just is like the last bit. It sort of helps it softens the decals, so all the contours and the panel lines and things like that. So if you've got like the main tail decal emblem there, you'll see that has actually conformed into the panel lines, just to give it that sort of painted on look. Again, here I'm applying this with a cotton bud stroke Q-tip. You'll see later on that I actually progressed to using a paintbrush, and I found that a better way of doing things. So there she be, all good, happy with that. Just allow that to dry. As you can see, it's soaking into the decal there, doing its thing. Sometimes you'll notice that the decals will wrinkle a little bit. Don't panic, don't throw your hands in the air. It's meant to do that, okay? You'll see that further on in the video. It does it to one of my decals, and I purposely showed that just so you know that it is meant to do that, and it's just the setting solution doing its thing. So I've advanced on from there. I didn't want to show you or bore you guys with putting on every decal, because that just ain't gonna work, not with 200 of them. I appreciate you tuning in every week, and I want it to stay that way, so I didn't want to bore you to death, okay? So I've sort of picked and choose various moments of decals, or the process of the decaling. So here I'm going for number 59, and here you will see that I apply it with a paintbrush. So a nice sharp knife or a pair of scissors is plenty good enough for this. Decal paper can be a little bit thick at times, so the knife struggled to get through there. But there we go. Micro sets. So this is softening the decals and improving adhesion, as it says clearly on the bottom. And as you can see, it's just a little bit better of an applicator with the brush. It's sort of more to the point and less wastage. So again, decal's been in the water for a short period of time, and just using the tissue, the paper towel to take the excess water off. And there we go. So next up, it's just applying this to the actual airframe and making sure we get that setting solution nicely on it, like so. And of course, what I found with the kit decals was they didn't adhere straight away, so you actually had some wiggle time, for what I call it. I wasn't happy, I just added a little bit extra water to it. I can't remember my reason for that. I hold my hands up. But there we go. Ta-da! In place in one. Very good. So it's just a case of now letting this sort of settle in. Excuse me, I've got a cough. My apologies, hope that didn't blast your ears off. Just a case of letting it set in place. Now, I did struggle with this. Now, this is sod's law. Honestly, I put all these decals on, 100 of them, and not one of them have moved out the way until I decide, I know, I'm going to show everyone how to do a close-up view of this. And of course, this one decal decided it was going to be a sod. But what can you do? With a bit of patience, I do win with this. It's just a case of delicately putting the decal back and using the cotton bud just to get the liquid out from underneath. Which I do kind of win there, so happy days, yay me. And then it moves again. Ah, dull. So again, back come the tweezers, get this epoxy thing in place. So we just here, basically the slight pause, just waiting for that to dry. And while I dip the brush in the micro sol, the setting agent. And it's just a case, carefully, without moving the decal, just dabbing it on, and then you'll find this solution bites into the decal film, not the printed part, and gets it to adhere to your kit. And here is the aforementioned wrinkling. This isn't an issue. It's meant to do this. If you leave it overnight, whilst this happens, you'll come back the next morning and it'll be as smooth as anything, and it'll be nicely adhered to your kit. I did dab an extra bit of setting agent on this, just purely for the fact that I wanted to make sure and just make sure that the process was working. You don't have to do that. Just trust the process, as they say, and it'll work fine. Here we go. You just see it there. I've just dabbed a little bit more, but as you can see, that actually shows that it will smooth out. And it's just a case of any excess, use the cotton bud. Sorry, my American followers, but I'm British. We call them cotton buds. You'll just have to cope. And they're not Q-tips to us, so I'm not going to keep referencing to them to Q-tips. We all know what they are. Fluffy thing on a stick that you stick down your ear holes. Anyhow, I digress. Here we go. Just making sure it's set down. Now you can see that slight ridge there. That does disappear overnight, and it sets in, and you can't see that. So, ta-da, there we go. We've got plenty of decals on here. So I thought I'd just show you the progress again so far. So I think that, yeah, that's all the bottom, all the underside ones done. And then next up, obviously, we're going to work into the forward part of the fuselage, and then that's the rear. And now you guys that have been following us will notice something here when the camera gets to it. I have got, yes, red pods for the chaff flare dispensers on the Stinger. Now, I was under the impression, and I read it somewhere from another modeler, that they were silver when they were live and red when they were dead, and I was going to go with silver live ones. Well, that's incorrect. Red ones are when there are chaff dispensers in there. So I thought, you know what, this isn't the airshow aircraft, I'm going to go with the live dispensers, just purely because this aircraft is a frontline action aircraft and I wanted to show that. Plus, don't you reckon it looks cool? Because I do. And I'll tell you one thing, they've done really well, Great Wall Hobby, because those fit perfectly, those red dots, and it's like it's been painted on, so I was really, really happy with that. So here we go, close up with lots of yellow stickers. Whoop! Again, guys, I've tried to make this as entertaining as possible, but there you go. It's about as good as it's going to get. The close-up of myriads of decals that I've put on, but I'm showing it for completeness, just so you can see what you're going to be dealing with this kit. And hey, if it's on the real thing, which it is, it's got to be there, so you know, it's there. So next up, it's doing the it's back to the Foxbots. And it's a case of popping the roundels on now. And then obviously I don't know what this is, whether it's a squadron logo or it's just the Air Force logo, maybe you know, but yeah, that will also, that doesn't come with the kit obviously, because this paint job isn't with the kit, so they're included with the decals. So just in case, checking my references, making sure I know where these roundels are going to go, and then we'll get them applied. There we go, me showing you where the roundels are supposed to go. Now it was good, it's also good, guys and ladies, to check also with if you've got pictorial photos of the real aircraft, it's good to check, because I'm telling you what, Foxbot, I'm not putting them down in any way here, but this guy has gone into a hell of a lot of work to get some really excellent decals, but then you'll see in a minute, the top decals roundels aren't in the right place. And if you actually look at the real aircraft, they've got to be further forward. And I'm really glad I checked my pictorial, pictorial evidence for this. Because otherwise I'd have done all these decals only to have those rounders in the wrong place. And I would have been absolutely doing my pieces over that. So I'm glad I checked. So do make sure that sometimes, okay, it's good. We've got the decal references there. And people out there that know more than me are telling me where to put them. But every now and then, just double check to make sure that you're happy and it's going where it should be. And I'm glad I did that in this instance. There you go, I've just sped up this section of me putting the roundels on. Again, making sure that they're in the same spot each side. And of course using the cotton bud just to get rid of the liquid underneath, as previously mentioned. Nice little close-up for your viewing pleasure. So there we go, 2 roundels in situ, happy days. And of course, the customary thumbs up from my good self. So next up is where things go a little bit pear-shaped, guys. Okay, it's time for you guys to have a little smirk, because I know you're professionals and I'm still learning, and you wouldn't have fallen foul of this. So, what, I hear you screaming, what have you done, you massive prat? Well, I basically decided it would be a really smart idea, despite knowing better, to get these warning stripes, to apply them in one piece. Now I'm sure you're all cringing, and yeah, I should have been. The alarm bells were ringing, and you know what, I didn't listen to myself, and yeah, I put these on as one piece and it didn't bloody work. I don't know what to say. I don't know what came over me. It was a moment of madness. It was plain to see it wasn't going to work, but I've persevered. I'm 90% happy with how this looks. I was a bit pissed, to be honest with you, because I've strived so hard with this kit to get it right and to get everything perfect, to then not listen to my own sort of common sense to just cut these into 3 parts and laid them down over a period of time. I mean, it's taken me long enough anyway. What's an extra day going to be with just getting these right? But do you know what? I didn't listen to myself. I've learned a lesson, which I guess this is what this is all about. It's just a little bit frustrating it had to be on this kit that I've learned a lesson. Let me know what you think, guys. I mean, I'm sure you're doing that anyway, but as you can see in a minute, I really had an absolute nightmare with this. But if it entertains you, well, I can say, are you not entertained? Because I hope you are. But I know some of you will feel sorry for me. I really did guff this up bad. But I've sped it up because I don't want to drag out A, my error for your amusement for too long, and B, because it isn't the right way to do it. So the right way, in my opinion, would have been, while all those decals were dry, was to cut them into segments. Lay the segment down, let it dry, do some other parts of the decaling, come back, lay the next bit down, and it would have been absolutely perfect. I didn't do that. I hold my hands up. What are you going to do, eh? But if you guys can learn from this, and then you're building this kit and you've watched this and you put it in segments and it comes out perfect, then do you know what? That'll be payment in my eyes to me, because just to know that I've helped someone else not make the same mistake. I've learnt, and I'll know next time that if my gut is telling me don't do this, or my brain, then don't damn well do it. Anyway, I've ranted enough there. Here we see me just laying these down in one long piece. I mean, it wasn't atrocious, but you'll see in a minute I really struggle. And here we go. I almost feel like a bit of Laurel and Hardy music in the background would probably be a bit more appropriate, but as I don't have that, I'm not going to do it. So yeah, this one decided it was going to stick down in all the awkward places, then twist on me. Honestly, it was like wrangling a snake, this was. I mean, look at it. Anyway, such is life. Such is life. So I should just keep quiet and you can sit back and watch me struggle with this. I do win eventually. So here we go, this one, I had to dip this in water again, dip it in setting, so I get some setting solution on it. And I'm not going to lie, it's probably good that I'm narrating this afterwards, because the language that's been dubbed over here was pretty colourful. My dogs were on the sofa sort of staring at me going, oh, he's having another one, guys. And even they went in their cage, in their beds. They were not, and they were like, he screwed it, it's going to go across the room in a minute. Nope, there we go. It's like I say, it's not perfect. It's close to, and I sort of did some further adjustments, but there we go. I stopped videoing at that point, and as you can see, that it's in place. Let's move on from that small digression, shall we? So this is, I think, either the Squadron logo or the Air Force logo. I don't know. If you guys know, let me know. If you don't, hey ho, no worries. What I did find with the Foxbot decals was using the two-part process with the Solar Microset didn't really work too well. Putting this down first and then putting a decal on, it almost made it cling and wrinkled too quickly. So after this particular decal struggling again, I knocked out the first bit of the process just with the Foxbot decals because it wasn't working. As you can see, I sort of slightly struggled with this bit and it wrinkled up, and I think I've been decaling here for about an hour and a half at this point, and you know when you're just like, oh seriously man, I'm going to get this decal done and walk away. So again, it's a bit of a learning process. Maybe sitting down for an hour and a half doing this. If you're like me and you struggle to concentrate for that period of time, maybe just walk away, go have a coffee, watch a bit of TV, I don't know, have some self-time, do whatever floats your boat. Look back through the videos and take close-ups of my fingernails, whatever it is you want to do, you crazy lot. Anyhow, yeah, just have a break, because I probably could have done one here, done with a break here, because I was getting a little bit fatigued out. It was quite late in the evening, and I probably should have left this to the next day, but I did get it right. I was happy. I just sort of dragged it out a bit, sort of made it a bit harder on myself than I should have done, really. So there we go. I was a bit nervous doing that one because, again, it's another decal that if it went wrong, I'd have to buy the whole pack again, and I didn't really fancy doing that at this stage. But I won eventually, and it all came together. And there was a huge sigh of relief, yeah, because the sort of main decals are now on, and I was happy. As you can see, pretty happy with that. I put some more solution on, which I get to in just a moment. There we go. and it dries out overnight. Got rid of that little bit of extra, whatever that was, that black bit there. I cleared that off. I think that was off the decal sheet, probably a bit of a number. But there we go. She sets through and sticks down nicely, much to my wholehearted relief, I can tell you. So there we go. One nice emblem applied. Pretty happy. Well, actually, I'm pretty damn happy with that. So whilst we're sitting there staring at that, I'd just like to thank you for lasting out. Well, we're 25 minutes into this video, so thank you ever so much. I owe you a beer when we're all able to come out and socialise again, and maybe I'll come out to some model shows. Yeah, it'd be nice to hook up with you guys and say hello. Yeah, I owe you a beer for basically listening to my wafflings for this long. So yeah. Well done, you lot. Have a pat on the back. If you haven't already, click the like and subscribe buttons. It means a lot to me. I think I'm over 400 now. I've said it before, it baffles the hell out of me. There's 400 people that give two monkeys about my kit building, but it seems to be a thing, so I'm happy. And yeah, I've had some excellent feedback, which is really, really great. So there we go. One nearly fully decaled SU-27. So this is now putting on the actual aircraft serial number, which is number 67. I think the more famous one was number 71, and I think that was the one that was doing the air show scenes. I didn't realise it didn't have the decals to them until fairly recently, but I'm not reordering the air show ones. I'll go with this one. This is a more frontline aircraft, I believe. So there we go, back to a close-up of this section. So I'm just moving the aircraft about, getting it in position for me to put the number 67 on the front of the aircraft. Now I don't know why I've dragged this out for so long. I guess I'm getting the decal ready. And there it is at long last, and I hear the fans go wild as it finally appears on screen. There we go, number 67 in place. Happy with that. Again, checking my references to make sure that it was in the correct spot. That's about as glamorous as I can make putting a number 67 on an aircraft, ladies and gents. As always, just getting the liquid out from underneath, as we've seen through this process before. And there we go. Happy with that. Beautiful, as they say. So for this part of the section, this is all the decals on now. I thought I'd do a bit of a handheld video. Let me know what you think to this. Hope you don't feel sick watching it. But this is a kind of close-up of all the decals. The decals are done. Yay! Happy days. And there's a little bit of extra blue on those engines because you guys quite rightly said, listen, the hot sections of these aren't quite right on your kit, you need to update this. I put a bit more blue on. I'm not doing any more. Whether you guys agree with that or not, that's up to you, but that's how it's staying now. Because to be quite honest with you, I'm a bit terrified of screwing them up, so they're staying as they are. Anyhow, here's the main decals. Nice close-up view and a bit of moody lighting. Let me know what you think to this. I'm very happy with how this has turned out. Like I say, the red warning stripes I'm not so happy about, but we won't talk about that anymore. Right, so some nice exhausts on the aircraft. We're going to pop them in situ. Oh wait, no. Not yet, you're not. That's next week. Sorry guys, no. You'll have to wait. Next week we'll get down to those. So here's basically a bird's eye view of the whole aircraft. There she is, all decaled up. I'm really happy with this. Thank you ever so much for following along in this video for so long. You're nearly on half an hour. Well done, guys. This is a final view of all the decals. I've tried to make it as entertaining as possible, including throwing the top of the canopy off whilst videoing this, as you just saw then. I hope you've been entertained. I hope you found this useful, informative. If you have, hit the like, hit the subscribe buttons. If you haven't, hit the dislike. We're all adults here. I can take that on the chin. That's no worries. I'm personally very pleased with this. It's been a mammoth task getting all these decals on. Here's a little extra Brucey bonus view of the interior of the cockpit with those excellent Quinta decals inside there. So yeah, very happy with this. As you can see, there were plenty and plenty of these decals, as we've already said. There we go, looking good. Very happy with that. There we go. The with the more joys of modern technology, the canopy's back on, and then we've got some tailplanes all done, and now the various ancillaries or extra parts on the aircraft that in the next episode will find themselves being glued into situ. And here we go, a little extra complimentary look at the or a bonus look at the exhausts. Now, whilst I show you other parts that I've put decals on, I just can't thank you enough for your support, your kind words of encouragement, and your subscriptions, your likes, everything like that. Thank you ever so much, guys. I don't know when the next video is going to be out. It's going to be out soon. It's going to include undercarriage, getting these parts glued on, a bit of weathering, and then maybe, hopefully, maybe a review at the end, but I don't want to drag it out to be too long a video. With that in mind, I haven't got long to go, so thanks again. I hope you have a great week. Happy modelling. Thank you once again for tuning in. I hope you liked what you've seen. Have a great week. Cheers. Thank you. Peace out.